The Imposter Mailman. In the quiet, suburban town of Quahog, a spine-chilling tale of deception and terror unfolded, sending shivers down the spine of the Griffin family. It all began on an ordinary Wednesday afternoon with Peter Griffin, a lovable but somewhat dim-witted man, watching TV in the living room of his family home. His wife, Lois, was at work, their teenage son, Chris, was at school, and their infant daughter, Stewie, was taking a nap in her crib. As Peter lazily flipped through the channels, he was startled by the unexpected sound of the doorbell. He paused the TV and made his way to the front door, his curiosity piqued. Standing on the doorstep was a man dressed in a USPS uniform, holding a small package. Peter, always one to enjoy a good conversation, greeted the mailman with a grin. "Hey there, buddy. What brings you to my humble abode?" The mailman, a nondescript figure with a fake smile plastered on his face, replied, "I've got a special delivery for you, Mr. Griffin. Can you please sign for it?" Peter scratched his head, puzzled. "A special delivery, huh? Well, Lois usually handles these things, but she's at work. Sure, I can sign for it. But, hey, where's your mail truck?" The imposter mailman shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting around as if searching for an excuse. "Oh, it's just around the corner, you know. Temporary parking situation." Peter raised an eyebrow, but decided to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. "All right, give me the package." As the fake mailman handed over the small box, Peter couldn't help but notice something odd. "Wait a minute," he said, squinting at the mailman's face. "You're not our regular mailman, Joe. He's a great guy and always brings lollipops for Chris and Stewie. Where's Joe?" The imposter's smile faltered for a moment before he replied. "Joe had to take a sudden leave to visit his family. I'm filling in for him today." Peter hesitated but decided to go along with it. "Okay, fine. I'll sign for it. But I need to get my reading glasses. Wait right here." Peter closed the door, leaving the imposter mailman on the porch. He shuffled through the house, his gut telling him that something was off. He grabbed his phone and dialed Lois's number, but she didn't answer. Panicking, he called his neighbor, Marge Simpson, who worked from home and was always there to lend a hand. Marge picked up the phone, her voice filled with concern. "Peter, what's wrong? Is everything okay?" Peter blurted out, "Marge, there's a weird mailman at my door, and I think something's not right. Can you come over, please?" Marge, always ready to help her neighbor, reassured him. "Of course, Peter. I'll be right there." Meanwhile, Peter returned to the front door, peering through the peephole. The imposter mailman was growing impatient, tapping his foot and glancing around nervously. A few agonizing minutes later, Marge arrived at Peter's doorstep. She gave him a reassuring nod before ringing the doorbell herself. The imposter mailman's eyes widened as he saw Marge, an unexpected witness to his scheme. Peter opened the door, and Marge wasted no time. She pretended to be unaware of the tension and asked, "Peter, what's going on? Who's this?" Peter played along. "Marge, meet the substitute mailman. He's here with a special delivery." Marge, keenly observant, studied the imposter's face and uniform. Something about him didn't sit right with her. She decided to play it cool and said, "Oh, how nice. But Peter, I thought you couldn't find your reading glasses to sign for the package." The imposter mailman's smile faded, and he stammered, "Well, you see, he found them, and I was just about to leave." Marge's instincts kicked in, and she had a sinking feeling that this was no ordinary delivery. She kept up the act, smiling politely. "That's wonderful. Peter, why don't you go ahead and sign for it? I'll keep our guest company." Peter took the package, signed quickly, and handed it back to the imposter. As he did, Marge discreetly dialed the police on her cell phone. Just then, a patrol car pulled up to the curb, and 2 officers stepped out. Marge had relayed the situation to them, and they were ready to confront the imposter mailman. Sensing that the trap was closing in on him, the imposter's face turned pale. He mumbled something about needing to be on his way and tried to make a hasty retreat. But the police officers were swift. They apprehended the imposter, revealing his true identity as a wanted criminal who had been impersonating mailmen to gain access to unsuspecting victims' homes. The Griffin family, Marge, and the police officers breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had narrowly escaped a potentially dangerous situation. As the imposter was led away in handcuffs, Lois arrived home from work, completely unaware of the terrifying ordeal that had unfolded in her absence. The Griffin family recounted the story to her, and they all realized just how close they had come to falling victim to a cunning criminal. The incident served as a stark reminder that danger could lurk in the most unexpected places, even behind the guise of a friendly mailman. From that day on, the Griffins and Marge Simpson remained vigilant, always watching out for anything out of the ordinary in their otherwise peaceful town of Quahog. And so, the mystery of the imposter mailman was solved, but the memory of that eerie encounter would haunt the residents of Quahog for years to come. A chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest things can wear the most innocent disguises. The Haunting Highway. In the heart of the desolate high desert, where the boundaries of reality and the supernatural blur, a spine-chilling tale unfolded, forever haunting the memories of those who lived to tell it. Our story begins with Marge, a brave and unsuspecting traveler who set out on a harrowing journey from Twenty Palms, California, to Albuquerque, New Mexico, taking a shortcut through the eerie and forsaken roads that connected these distant destinations. As the sun dipped below the barren horizon, casting long shadows across the desolation, Marge found herself navigating a narrow two-lane road that cut through the heart of nowhere. The only sign of civilization along this desolate path was Amboy, a nearly abandoned town that seemed to defy the laws of life and death. It sat almost as far below sea level as the infamous Death Valley, trapped between a dormant volcano and a salt flat, a place where the boundaries of reality seemed to blur. Amboy, at the time, was rumored to be a hotspot for sinister satanic group activities, a reputation that sent chills down the spines of all who dared to venture into its eerie confines. Marge, however, was undeterred. With determination in her heart and a camera in hand, she snapped a picture of the Amboy City sign, a small act of defiance to prove her presence in this strange and unsettling town to her friends who had dared her to take this treacherous route. Continuing her journey, Marge drove further into the desolation, the high grass on either side of the road forming a foreboding corridor. It was in this desolate stretch of road that her life would take a terrifying turn. Up ahead, she noticed something peculiar blocking her path. A red Pontiac Fiero was stopped sideways, completely obstructing both lanes. The scene was unsettling. A suitcase lay open with clothes strewn across the road, and two lifeless bodies lay face down, a man and a woman. Marge's heart raced as she approached the macabre tableau. Something felt profoundly wrong. An eerie stillness hung in the air, and the hair on the back of her neck stood on end. As a former Marine, she trusted her instincts. With a trembling hand, she retrieved a 9mm pistol from beneath the seat and chambered a round. The situation seemed too perfect, too staged. Could it be an ambush? Paranoia gnawed at her, and she knew that getting out of the car would be the equivalent of walking into a horror movie. Her eyes scanned the road, and a plan formed in her mind. She spotted a line through which she could drive safely, past the lifeless man on his left, swerve to the right side of the woman, behind the Fiero, and she would be on the other side, away from this nightmare. With her heart pounding in her chest, she dropped the car into first gear, stomped on the gas pedal, and executed her plan with precision. She passed behind the Fiero without so much as grazing it or the lifeless bodies in the road. A couple of 100 feet away, she finally allowed herself to slow down, gasping for breath and attempting to make sense of the horrifying encounter. Glancing into the rearview mirror, her heart plummeted. The two lifeless bodies had risen to their knees, and an eerie assembly of 20 or so figures emerged from the tall grass on either side of the road, surrounding the Fiero and its occupants. Terror coursed through Marge's veins as she realized the sinister reality of the situation. With a jolt of panic, she slammed her foot down on the gas pedal, refusing to look back as she sped towards the I-40 East on-ramp. Marge had narrowly escaped a fate that was beyond comprehension, an encounter with malevolent forces that defied explanation. She would never know what might have happened if she had dared to check on the bodies or had stopped her car closer to the scene of the haunting. Some mysteries were better left unsolved, and the horror she had witnessed that day would forever remain etched in her memory. As Marge's car merged onto the I-40, she couldn't help but wonder if the desolate roads that crisscrossed the high desert held more dark secrets than anyone could fathom. The boundaries between the natural and supernatural were thin in these forsaken lands, and sometimes reality could be far more terrifying than any horror movie. The Midnight Roadblock. In the quiet, isolated town of Springfield, where the nights were darker and the roads less traveled, a chilling story unfolded that left the residents of this sleepy town questioning the boundaries of reality. Our tale begins late one eerie night, where the darkness seemed to swallow everything in its inky depths. Marge Simpson, a loving mother and dedicated driver, had been tasked with picking up her two children, Bart and Lisa, and their friend, Peter, from a local concert at Moe's Tavern. The clock had struck 2 a.m. as they embarked on the journey back to their home, situated in a remote neighborhood far from the city limits. The streets were devoid of streetlights, leaving them immersed in an unsettling darkness. As they drove along a desolate stretch of road, the car crested a hill, and Marge began to slow down. The children exchanged puzzled glances and questioned their mother's actions. Marge pointed ahead, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "I don't know, kids, but something's not right up ahead." Bart leaned forward, peering through the windshield into the abyss that awaited them at the bottom of the hill. He could barely make out the eerie scene unfolding before them. A mass of people congregated in the middle of the road, blocking any passage. To his shock, someone among the crowd held a torch, casting eerie, flickering shadows on the asphalt. Lisa, always the voice of reason, whispered, "Mom, what should we do? Why are they just standing there like that?" Marge's knuckles turned white as she gripped the steering wheel. Her heart raced, and her instincts told her that something was deeply wrong. She tapped the brakes, hoping the people ahead would take notice and clear the road. However, the eerie congregation remained still, like statues in the night. Growing increasingly nervous, Marge resorted to flickering her headlights, a desperate attempt to get the attention of the roadblock's organizers. But to her dismay, the figures in the road remained unmoved, their faces obscured by the darkness. Fear tightened its grip on Marge's heart. The unsettling scene unfolded before her like a waking nightmare, and she knew that they couldn't simply drive through this surreal congregation. Her motherly instincts screamed at her to protect her children. With trembling hands, she made a quick and daring U-turn, tires screeching as the car changed direction. The children watched in bewildered silence as they retreated from the enigmatic gathering. The car sped away, leaving the roadblock behind. But the questions lingered like a haunting specter in the back of Marge's mind. What had she and her children just witnessed? Why had those people congregated in the middle of the road in the dead of night, holding torches and blocking the way? It was a mystery that gnawed at her, a memory that would haunt her for years to come. As they drove away from that surreal encounter, Marge couldn't shake the feeling that they had narrowly escaped something deeply sinister. The boundaries between the ordinary and the extraordinary had blurred that fateful night, and the roadblock remained an enigma. A chilling reminder that the quiet town of Springfield held secrets that defied explanation. The family never spoke of the incident again, choosing to bury it deep within their memories. But the unsettling feeling of that eerie night lingered, a testament to the unknown terrors that could lurk in the darkest corners of their seemingly peaceful town. The Stalker's Pursuit. In the heart of the bustling city of Leeds, beneath the bright neon lights and amidst the cacophony of daily life, a chilling tale unfolded, shattering the illusion of safety for one unsuspecting woman. Our story begins on a crisp and moonlit night, as Lucy, a young and independent woman, embarked on a solitary walk through the city streets, her footsteps echoing against the pavement. Lucy had always been confident and self-reliant, but on this particular night, a creeping sense of unease began to claw at the edges of her mind. It started as a vague feeling that someone was watching her, their eyes tracing her every move. She quickened her pace, trying to shake off the eerie sensation, but it persisted like a shadow cast by an unseen presence. As she turned the corner onto a dimly lit alley, her heart pounded in her chest. A glance over her shoulder revealed a figure in the distance, obscured by the shadows, but undeniably following her. Panic surged through Lucy's veins, and she knew she had to take action. Desperation led her to the nearest hotel lobby, where the bright overhead lights provided a sanctuary from the oppressive darkness outside. Lucy hurried to the front desk, her voice quivering as she shared her fears with the hotel staff. They exchanged concerned glances and insisted on summoning the police immediately. Minutes felt like hours as Lucy waited anxiously in the hotel lobby, her eyes darting toward the entrance, anticipating the arrival of the police. She felt a mix of relief and trepidation when they finally arrived. Lucy recounted the eerie pursuit to the officers, her voice trembling with fear. With determination in their eyes, the police officers set out to locate and apprehend the potential stalker. They meticulously reviewed surveillance footage from the hotel's security cameras, their eyes glued to the screens as they traced Lucy's steps that night. The chilling truth emerged from the grainy footage. The man had indeed been following Lucy, lurking in the shadows, his intentions sinister and obscure. The police wasted no time in tracking him down and taking him into custody. However, the nightmare was far from over. A thorough investigation into the man's background revealed a shocking and horrifying revelation. His DNA was a match for a string of unsolved murders that had plagued the city of Leeds over the past 3 weeks. The man Lucy had encountered was no ordinary stalker. He was a cold-blooded murderer responsible for the deaths of 3 innocent people. The city of Leeds collectively held its breath as the news spread. The arrest of the elusive serial killer sent shockwaves through the community, leaving them to grapple with the unsettling reality that danger could lurk in the most unexpected places. For Lucy, the encounter served as a chilling reminder of how close she had come to becoming another victim of the murderer's reign of terror. The city rallied around her, offering support and comfort in the aftermath of her harrowing ordeal. As the court proceedings unfolded, the true horror of the man's crimes came to light, and the victims' families found a semblance of closure. The city would never forget the terror that had gripped its streets, and Lucy's story would serve as a haunting reminder that sometimes danger lurked just around the corner, and a single moment of fear could change the course of one's life forever.